Are you tired of constantly saying, "I'll go next time," when your friends invite you to hang out? You've had those days when socializing seems like the last thing you want to do. Maybe you're struggling as an introvert or just craving some me time to binge watch Netflix, and that's perfectly understandable. But what if you're always saying no to invitations? Well, according to social psychology, that could make you less attractive. If you want to be seen as engaging and appealing, you might want to reconsider your tendency to pass on social events. Remember when you were in high school and there was a new kid in your class? At first, you barely noticed them, but as the weeks went by, they started to become more and more familiar. You started to see them in the hallway, at lunch, and in class. Suddenly, you realized you were starting to like them. Well, you fell victim to the mere exposure effect. In a 1992 experiment, researchers found that students who attended class more frequently were more popular among their peers. It wasn't because they were necessarily more likable or charismatic. It was simply because they were seen more often. This is also known as the principle of proximity liking. So if you're someone who tends to skip out on social events, you may be missing out on opportunities to become more attractive. It's not about attending every single party or gathering, but finding a balance between alone time and socializing. After all, the more you're seen, the more likely people are to start liking you. So the next time you're invited out, consider saying yes and put yourself out there. You might be surprised by the positive effect it has on your social life. Imagine walking into a room and immediately being greeted by someone who is eager to tell you about their achievements, their successes, and their talents. It's natural to feel put off by someone who boasts about themselves constantly. This is because, as psychotherapist Richard Jolson explains, people who constantly brag can come across as arrogant or insecure. A study published in the Journal of Positive Psychology in 2014 further supports this idea, showing that participants were more interested in forming relationships with people who displayed humility rather than boasting about their accomplishments. Focusing on building genuine connections with others by listening to their stories and valuing their perspectives is a more attractive approach. So let's aim to build connections and relationships based on mutual respect and humility rather than self-promotion. Do you stay up all night with the 2 a.m. club? Are you guilty of staying up late, scrolling through TikTok and binge-watching YouTube videos until the wee hours of the morning, followed by a hushed popcorn-making session and a few episodes of your favorite show? A study published in the well-respected journal BMJ in 2010 explored the attractiveness of sleep-deprived individuals. They took photos of two groups of people, those who had a restful 8 hours of sleep the night before and those who hadn't slept in a whopping 31 hours. Then participants were asked to rate the attractiveness of these people. It turns out that the sleep-deprived group was rated as looking less healthy and less attractive. The study suggests that sleep deprivation can lead to puffy eyes, wrinkles, and a tired appearance. So staying up late may not be worth it if you want to look your best and be more attractive. Next time you find yourself staying up late, think about the effects it could have on your appearance, overall health, and dating life. Prioritizing sleep can not only make you feel better, but it can also make you look more attractive to others. Envision that you're playing a friendly game of basketball with your friends. One person on the court is constantly pushing to win, no matter what it takes. They're aggressive, they're competitive, and they're constantly trying to one-up everyone else. While a healthy dose of competition can be fun, this type of behavior can quickly become unattractive. Being overly competitive can make you appear selfish, arrogant, and uninterested in forming genuine connections with others. It can also create a negative atmosphere where winning becomes the only thing that matters. In social situations, people want to feel valued and appreciated, not constantly pitted against each other. So while it's okay to enjoy a bit of competition, it's important to remember that being a good sport and showing respect to others is what truly makes someone attractive. Picture this. You're sitting across from a friend, pouring your heart out about a recent disappointment. You're venting and letting out all of your frustrations. But as you continue to talk, you start to notice your friend's facial expressions change. They look uncomfortable and disinterested. You finish your rant feeling unheard and unsupported. It turns out that pessimism isn't all that attractive. In fact, a study conducted by German researchers in 2007 found that people who are overly pessimistic can come across as unappealing. Participants listened to tape-recorded conversations of people discussing how they handled stress. Some were optimistic, some were realistic, and some were pessimistic. The optimistic and realistic people were rated more positively than the pessimistic ones. While it's important to be honest about your feelings and talk about your struggles, it's also important to find a balance. Being constantly negative can create an atmosphere of defeat and bring others down. Strive for a healthy balance of optimism and realism to avoid being seen as unattractive. After all, a positive outlook and an optimistic attitude can be contagious and attractive to others. Do you display any of these behaviors? Don't worry, we all have room for improvement. Every day is a fresh opportunity to learn and grow. By shedding some of these unattractive and unhealthy habits, you not only become more appealing to others, but you also feel amazing in your own skin. So why not take that first step towards being the best version of yourself? You've got this. Be sure to pop the subscribe button and watch more of our videos.